Hi guys, welcome back to the Third and Long podcast. I'm Jason Ginsberg, and this is episode 11, week 14. I'm joined by my hosts Sean Aylen, Greg Gitter, Max Roselli, Henry Mitchell, and we welcome back Christian Josie to the Third and Long podcast. We are starting off with the Dallas Cowboys and the Redskins. We have tons of topics today. Max, let's start it.
Yeah, sorry, not the Dallas Cowboys. They suck. But okay, Redskins. Football team or the Giants? Football team just came off the crazy win against the Steelers. Giants just beat the Seahawks. I want to know who's going to win that division. My take, I got Giants. I know we discussed this last week. Colt McCoy looks halfway decent. Gallman looks insane. What's your pitch on this, guys?
Yeah, I would also have to go with the Giants. I agree with everything you just said. I think Colt McCoy, he's a career backup. He was a great player in college, and now he's a backup for the Washington football team. So I think he can lead them to a couple wins, and I think they're pretty much carried by Wayne Gallman. He had like 135 rushing yards, so if he can keep that up, he's been doing amazing this year. Like the past 5 games, he's had over 10 fantasy points every game. I think they're a very solid option, and I'm very glad that they have him, and I think they will win the division.
I think it's going to be the Giants as well, but it just depends for me when Daniel Jones does come back because they haven't rolled him out for the year. If he's out for the year, I'm going to take the football team, but if not, I say Giants.
See, I kind of have the opposite of you. I think their backup is better than Daniel Jones because he beat the Seahawks, and Daniel Jones wouldn't do that. But I think it comes down to who has the easiest schedule for the rest of the season because they have the same record, right? So it's just going to come down to who can get more wins, obviously. But I hope that the football team wins because I think it'd be cool to see Ron Rivera make the playoffs his first year.
All I'm going to say is I'm pretty sure Colt McCoy only had 105 passing yards and Daniel Jones would have had above that. So,
They won.
I'm gonna go away from everybody else. I'm gonna say football team, especially if Daniel Jones is out for the year, because I just looked at their schedules. The football team has the Niners, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and the Eagles, and the Giants have the Cardinals, the Browns, the Ravens, and the Cowboys. So I see the football team winning at least 2 of those, and I don't see the Giants winning 2 of those.
It was impressive seeing the football team beating the Steelers, the undefeated Steelers. And for the Giants, their run game is great. Wayne Gallman had 135 yards, no touchdowns, although Alfred Morris took all the touchdowns. He had 2. And I think, honestly, the Giants' throwing game, it's not at its best, obviously, right now. But if they can keep up this run game, I think I can see some possibilities of the Giants coming into the playoffs. But it's going to be close.
I would say the only way that the football team could win is because of their defense. I think they obviously there was that one drive early in the game against the Steelers where they held Benny Snell to at the 1-yard line. He didn't get in 3 times, so that hurts for me because he's on my fantasy team. But I think their defense is definitely their strongest suit. They have so many good players on that defense. I think that's the only thing that could push them forward. But I think the Giants' offense is a little. I think they prove themselves more.
Yeah, but moving back to the football team here, we just saw Antonio Gibson go down, which is probably going to be out for at least 3 weeks, I'd say. He diagnosed with turf toe. So that's going to hurt a ton. They're going to be relying on J.D. McKissick. Fantasy, McKissick a priority ad over there. Same with Peyton Barber. But, yeah, Gibson's out probably for a good amount of weeks. I don't expect them – I think they're going to be more reliant on the pass, especially with J.D. McKissick being one of the greatest receiving backs in the league, with him getting, 10 receptions last game. So I think they're going to be way more reliant on the pass, and they're going to test Alex Smith. They're going to test Alex Smith, and I think Alex Smith will take him as far as they can go. So, yeah, moving on. Let's go to the Browns. Baker looked like the first pick finally. He actually looked good for the first time. And do you guys actually think they are contenders?
Yeah, they have a great record. I'm pretty sure they're 9-3? Is that right? Yeah, so I think Baker's been pretty inconsistent this year. Early in the year, he was he was pretty bad. But he's had this past game with 4 touchdowns in the first half. He's had a couple really good games, and I think I think they can definitely get somewhere with that team. It just doesn't help that their division is so good, besides the Bengals, obviously. But like, um, I think the Browns. I think the Browns have a shot at the playoffs, definitely. And I mean, their run game's great. Their receivers. I mean, Landry's been playing well the past couple weeks, and Rashard Higgins is very underrated. So, I think, yeah,
I understand
there's a
that.
chance.
Yeah, of course they have a shot at the playoffs. I'm asking if they're contenders
Like Super Bowl
for the
contenders.
Super Bowl. Yes.
I don't think Baker is good enough to take them to the Super Bowl, so I would say no, just because there's so many good teams this year. Even though their record proves that differently, I think Baker's not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, so I don't think they're contenders.
I mean, also you're looking at a team like two years ago that was 1-15, or I mean, but like yes, they did come back, but they definitely need a couple more years until they go to the Super Bowl. And like Christian said, like Baker Mayfield is a hit or miss. Like, I mean, he is so inconsistent. Him having 4 touchdowns was, I mean, it was kind of unrealistic to me. But I think that the Cleveland Browns, like, they can probably go far into the playoffs, but not far enough.
I think that it all depends on their schedule in the playoffs, who they play first round. Because as of right now, I don't think they're good enough to beat the Bills, who are they're projected to play right now. But if they play the Colts at the 4 seed somehow, then I think that they could sneak that game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know, cause like I've rooted for the Browns the last couple of years, especially after that 0-16 season, and I've just been like, it's kind of fun to see all the pieces finally come together. Cause like, I mean, everyone likes to say that. I mean, Baker Mayfield by no means is an elite quarterback, and we all know that. But I mean, we've seen them win games without first Nick Chubb with Kareem Hunt coming in and playing a big part. We've seen them win games without Odell Beckham. And then last week they won games without Denzel Ward, their number 1 corner. So I think they deserve some respect, but I don't think necessarily they're going to Super Bowl.
I have a question for you guys, because when Gray brought up Odell, this came to me. Do you guys think Odell will be on the Browns next year? Because I don't.
I think he will, not because of his skill level, because of the marketing standpoint.
I think the Patriots should. I think he should go to the Patriots.
I think that
if
he's
Cam
only
stays
gonna
another
go-
year.
I think he's only going to go somewhere where they have a proven quarterback, because he's been having to deal with bad quarterback play for years. And I think if he wants to have a real shot at like doing something in the league still, then he needs a better quarterback to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say bad quarterback. I'd just say inconsistent quarterback play. Because I mean, Eli Manning, he's had good seasons, but he's also had bad seasons. So, but yeah, I agree. I think he needs to go to a team that has a very like proven quarterback. I don't know what team that would be, but there's plenty of teams out there that I could definitely see him on who maybe need like better receivers. So
Yeah. So let's move into something pretty big here: the power rankings for this week. So this is what rounds out here. Chiefs, of course, they're number 1. Finally, they get the respect they deserve. They're not number 2 anymore because Steelers lost. I'll round out the top 10. We got Chiefs, Steelers, Saints, Packers, Bills, Seahawks, Rams, Browns, Buccaneers, and the Titans. Out of that top 10, is there any underrated, overrated teams you see?
well, go
Oh,
ahead.
you can go. You can go.
Okay. I would say off the bat, I think the Steelers are overrated. I mean, I think we've known that all year. And just the fact that they lost to the football team, I think, honestly, I would put the Packers over them, maybe the Saints. I think with Taysom starting, I think they definitely have a lot of like power in that offense. So I would put the Steelers at like 4 and move the Saints and Packers up. Maybe even I would maybe even put the Packers over the Saints, just because of how Aaron Rodgers has been playing and how obviously Devontae Adams, who's probably the best receiver in the league, depending on who you ask. But I think I would move the Steelers down a little bit. I think they're only that high just because of their record, but they're definitely overrated. So
Wait, who are the last 4 on the list? All right, I'm gonna say off the bat, I don't think the Bucks should be here. I think that should be the Colts spot. the Colts don't get any respect. They're 8-4. They have a shot at their division, if not definitely the playoffs, in my opinion. Yeah, the Colts are at 11. I think that the Bucks should be there. I mean, they've lost a good amount of games. They just don't click. And then also the Steelers. I mean, you kind of have to put the Steelers there. They're 11-1, but I think in a couple weeks that they'll fall off.
Yeah, well, let's move down a little here. So you see the Ravens over here. This record isn't updated. They're 7-5 right now, I think. So I think looking at Lamar's last game, of course, the passing numbers were extremely bad. They're always going to be bad. But I'm just saying, do you think Lamar can maintain that type of rushing production for the rest of the season?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
He's always a threat.
Yeah, like look at the throwings, like throwing. He is not accurate. Like the one pick, of course, that was a tip, but that pick was his fault because he overthrew Marquise Brown. So like I think passing it 105 yards, he's not looking good, but the rushing will always be there, and I think he's the best rusher like overall, not scrambler, best rusher. So, do you think the Ravens have a shot at the playoffs?
I think they have a shot. You can't count them out. I personally don't think they'll make it though. I think that the wild card spots are going to be whoever like loses the division between the Colts and the Titans, Dolphins and Browns.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think I don't really see the Ravens making it. I mean they're 7-5, so I don't see that happening.
And moving down here, like I see another team pretty underrated. I think the Raiders a little. I understand
Yeah.
like 15, but they're 7-5. They beat the Chiefs. I think that validates them enough that where they should maybe be top 12 or something like that. I
They
think
were
the Raiders
also-
could definitely beat the
But
Colts.
that Falcons game was horrible.
And they were also one play away from losing to the 0-11 team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that, but I think this team.
They shouldn't have even lost to the 0-11 team. I mean, that was just the defensive coordinator trying to throw. Like, who runs man coverage cover one on a Hail Mary play? Like, we know what they're
Yeah,
doing.
and then they blitzed. Like I don't. They should just played prevent defense, and like that's how it works. And then also the Patriots here. I mean, yeah, also the Patriots here coming off a 45-0 win against the Chargers. I understand the Chargers. Oh wait, they're all the way down to 28. But looking at it, the Chargers are like a good team that's ranked low. You understand that? Like they're a good team overall. It's just they're not winning games. I mean, any team to win 45-0, I think deserves some respect, honestly. And the fact that they swept them by that much is insane. It shows their defense prowess, shows their offense prowess. I think
And
it
special
helps them a
teams.
ton.
Yeah.
And special
teams.
teams too. Like, I remember.
Not even their offense. Cam threw for 60
No,
yards.
it was their defense carried. I think they had like 29 fantasy points. So
Yeah, I mean, like it was insane to see Herbert finally have his first bad game of the season, and especially to go down that way. They didn't score a single point, blocked field goals. Like, I think the Patriots team, this playoff picture is going to be very weird this year, especially with the wild card being very different from other years. So, I don't know how it's going to turn out. The Vikings are still here. These teams are all fighting. The Niners are here too. Like, I think a lot of teams have a shot to make the playoffs here. Anything to say on that?
I mean, go ahead.
Realistically, the Patriots can't lose. Like right now, like I mean, they can't, like they just can't afford to lose. And I was talking with Max, but I mean, we've seen Cam Newton choke on on championship games or like important games, you know. And I mean, I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, but the Patriots can't afford to lose to get to the playoffs.
They
Well,
they have a really tough schedule though. Coming up, they have the Rams, the Dolphins, and then the Bills. So I think it's going to be hard for them to win even two of those three games because those are all three very good teams.
Well, I wonder what the Patriots front office is thinking with Cam. Like, do we keep this guy or do we sell on him? And like, I wonder what Belichick's thinking too. He just went from the greatest quarterback of all time, the guy that just drew for 69 yards. So like, what do you guys think? Do you think Cam will be back in New England next season?
I think if they can figure out ways to win games, even if Cam's not playing that great, I think they don't really have a reason to get rid of him. But I mean, there's definitely a lot of teams that could use him. But I think I think they'll re-sign him to a small contract again, just because if they can finish with like a decent winning record, then I think it's all fine for him.
What team?
Yeah, well, you saw like they evolved. Like Tom Brady, you knew that pass was a slant with Edelman. Oh, it's a deep shot with Mohamed Sanu or something. I don't know. But like now they've evolved into a run heavy team. Damian Harris gets like 20 carries a game, and then James White and Sonny Michel get a good amount of carries too. And Cam Newton's a power runner. So Tom Brady's not a power runner. He's a good short passer, pretty good long too. So they've evolved a total different game script. I don't know if Belichick likes that.
What answering Jason's question, what team do you guys see him on if he gets traded next year? I think one in the like top of the list I would say is like the 49ers, something like that. What do y'all think? It's a very small contract. It's like 1 million or like one year. Yeah.
Well,
so
he's not getting
1.7.
he's not getting traded. He signed a 1-year deal with the Patriots, so he's
No,
signing.
I'm saying if he yeah no that's what I meant. Like if he goes to another team, where do y'all see?
I don't know.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot of options. I'd say the 49ers.
I think the Niners is a pretty good fit, especially with Shanahan's playbook of running the ball like 100%, 90% of the time. I think he'd be a very good fit. Besides Jimmy G, who can't run. I mean, I think Cam would be an extremely good fit on the Shanahan's offense, where they run the ball like crazy.
And I think
yeah.
I feel like Cam sort of likes tight ends a lot. I mean, we saw Greg Olsen in Carolina, and I think him and Kittle would be a great duo there. And obviously the running game, he's just adding to that. So,
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have to go, guys. Someone will take over the topics. Thanks for listening.
all right, guys. So going on to our next topic, we're going to be talking about the Seahawks. So they lost to the Giants. What do you guys? So do you guys think they're still contenders for the Super Bowl or the playoffs or whatever? Do you guys see that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't
Well, yeah.
I don't think you can count a team with Russell Wilson on out.
Yeah. I think I mean, they've definitely proven themselves. DK is great, Tyler Lockett's great, Chris Carson's great. It's a great team. They just need to get it all together, you know. DK had like 80 yards. If he could score some touchdowns in games like that when they really need to win, that would be great. I think Russell Wilson has obviously proved himself. He just needs to get more consistent. What do you guys think of that?
I think they'll definitely make the playoffs. I just don't see him making a deep run with that defense.
Wait, Drazen, what did you say?
Oh, like I mean, this week the Seahawks are playing the Jets, so I see
Oh.
an even win.
Yeah, they should win.
Also, I see Tyler Lockett having another crazy game this week.
Yeah, the Jets corners are not good. They have like Brian Poole and I don't
Lamar
even know who
Jackson.
else.
But other than that, I agree with Gray. If you have Russell Wilson, you can't count him out.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, they are the Seahawks. So
Yeah.
If in the offseason they're able to keep their same offense and then just add on to their defense, either through the draft or free agency, I think they are easily a Super Bowl contender. And I think next year, if they're able to do that, they'll be top 3 team in the league throughout the whole season. Just because their offense is so good, but it's their defense, especially their secondary, that slows them down. And their run defense isn't that great either. So
Yeah,
they just need.
Jamal Adams has been really disappointing.
Oh yeah, he's taking on the nickname Blitz Boy now or something like that, which I think is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So,
They need to sign some corners. It's just like their
Yeah.
corners are awful and can't really play any defense. But I mean, I think their offense should be coming back because I think DK should have at least another year or 2 on his rookie contract. Russ became the highest paid player in the NFL for a minute last year, or like the second highest paid.
Mhm.
And then I'm not sure about Tyler Lockett and Chris Carson, but I mean their team, it's really just their defense at this point. But I think they have the coaches and stuff. They just need the players, and they just haven't found a way to get the players since their last playoff run.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna go into another topic. This one's really exciting for a lot of people. So Christian McCaffrey should be playing this week in Week 14. He had a bye this past week, so he was pretty healthy over his bye. But what do you guys see happening this week for the Panthers with Christian McCaffrey coming back?
I see him getting a light load because at this point, since we lost last week, there's no reason to play him, who's our best player. There's no reason to actually get him hurt again. I mean, he'll probably get a decent amount of carries, but I don't see him getting a 20 plus carry game.
I think he will, just because Matt Rule, no matter what, Matt Rule wants to win, and Christian McCaffrey's gonna help us do that. I think I might be wrong, but I think we play the Broncos this week.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay. So yeah, I think McCaffrey maybe not as much as he typically would, but I still think he'll get 20 carries and a couple receptions. Because like I said, Matt Rule just wants to win, and Christian McCaffrey is gonna help us do that, obviously. So.
Yeah, and also another thing that goes into play is like because of all the COVID that the Panthers have experienced recently, there's definitely a good chance that DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel could be out. I think they said that DJ Moore might actually play, but he's also coming off an injury, so we never really know. And there's a lot of players in our defense, like Shaq Thompson got COVID. He was on the COVID list. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Derek Brown. So I actually agree with Sean. I think that there's going to be a more of a workload for McCaffrey, and I think they know when he's healthy and when he's not. So I think Matt Rule is going to make the right decision on how much to play him. I think this game he's going to get more receptions than he will rushes, just because I think they want him to. If they really want to win this week, because a win would be really good for the Panthers, I think they need to get the passing game going, especially if there's a receiver out or two receivers out, then Robbie could be our only target. There's definitely a chance of that. So I think McCaffrey definitely needs to have a big game, and I think Rule knows what he's doing. So I think I see a big game for McCaffrey. You guys have anything else to say on McCaffrey or the Panthers in general?
AJ Boye was just rolled out for the Broncos, so
That's big.
Robbie
Yeah.
this week,
Yeah,
especially-
I think the Broncos defense is on a decline. I mean, obviously Von Miller's out. They haven't really been good in a while, so I think we can definitely win this game.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a feeling it's going to be a bad game. Like, just two not good teams
Yeah,
playing
no,
each other.
definitely.
I think Drew Lock may light it up though.
Christian loves Drew Lock recently for some reason. All right, let's go to Christian's team. Let's talk about the Bills. They had a great game. Josh Allen had like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think he's back in the MVP race. I don't think he's going to win it just because there's so many good players like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, people like that. But I think he definitely proved himself. What do y'all think about the Bills?
Honestly, if I'm being realistic, I don't think he's in the MVP conversation unless he beats the Steelers this week. I think if he beats the Steelers and puts up a decent game, then he'll be back in the MVP conversation. But for right now, he's not yet.
I think he's in the conversation, but there's literally no way he wins it because I don't think there's a way that Patrick Mahomes does not win the MVP this year.
Yeah. I think the Bills team, like, we saw a huge game from Cole Beasley. I think, Christian, do you know when John Brown is coming back?
It not this week, but the week after. I think week 15.
Yeah. So, and they're first in their division, right?
Yeah, by one game. Dolphins
are. So I think they definitely have a shot at going far in the playoffs. And if Josh Allen can keep up these huge games, then that's definitely a possibility. And I think if he can beat the Steelers, who's probably the best defense in the league, them or the Colts, then I think he's back in the race. All right, we got our last topic is Darren Waller, Raiders tight end. He had a 200-yard, 2-touchdown game. I know Drazen was very happy about that. Where do you guys see him in like the tight end rankings? Because most people would put him at probably like 2 behind Kelsey. What do you guys think about that?
2.
This year I'd put him at 2, but normally I think I'd put him at 3 just because how good of a tight end George Kittle is normally. He just hasn't been able to play all this year. But I mean, he's good blocking and he can receive the ball and get it downfield almost like a wide receiver. But I just don't see him overtaking George Kittle because, in my opinion, George Kittle is the best blocking tight end in the league, or the best, I guess, dual tight end in the league that can block and can also get out in the field and throw some people around.
Yeah, and I would say
About,
go ahead. You got it.
about Darren Waller, I mean, you guys probably knew who Darren Waller was last year, but I mean, I didn't because 1, I'm not a Raiders fan. 2, Darren Waller was not on my radar. But I picked Darren Waller only because like in the position rankings, like he was like number 3. He was pretty high up in the fantasy, but like I had no idea that this man was gonna do something. I mean, he got 17 targets. 17 targets for a tight end is incredible. And I mean, from like he would get like 30-yard receptions, and obviously he got 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. Like that's crazy. And Darren Waller's just a lock-in tight end 1. I mean, he's playing the Colts, but still. And definitely a thing about Darren Waller, it's kind of like every other week he does good, because like last week he had like 4 points, and then this week he has 32, and then like last week he had 8. And he's pretty inconsistent, but like he's still a lock-in tight end 1. And if you have Darren Waller, you should obviously just play him.
Yeah, I think
he's
I
a
think-
number 2 tight end.
I think that happens. I feel like that happens a lot with tight ends, though. Like, I'd say the only tight end who's not like somewhat inconsistent is Kelsey, but like I feel like you're going to see that a lot from tight ends. But it's definitely great to see Waller have a huge game because we know how good he is. And I mean, they barely beat the Jets. Derek Carr had a huge day. Henry Ruggs had that game winner. So yeah, future's bright for Darren Waller.
All right, guys, this is going to conclude the Third and Long podcast. Join us next week for episode 12, and it's going to be week 15. I have to see you guys there. Thank you.
Bye.